Alright, back to finish this physicist Michael comment. Yeah, whatever. Okay, I believe it when you say that you are not clear on my claims. That's right. I mean, the relativity argument you made in response to this simple question, does it take 3 times the fuel to go 9 times as fast? And your answer is basically, well, no on a spaceship, but yes, maybe on Earth. I don't know. Because you don't seem to understand how to study or how the study or application of physics works. So again, this patronizing arrogance, you're sitting on a theory that again has a lousy history. You won't take any account for the history at all. The fact that the work equation, and even you name the joule after joule, and even Joule's own results don't prove this theory. It's just amazing that you can get away with that foundation and call yourself anything other than a pseudo anti-scientist. I mean, a religious person. I mean, it's such dogma, and that's all it is. Made up authority statements telling us what the truth is, and they don't have to prove any of it. And you're sitting there and insulting my integrity? Amazing. That's completely fine. Well, apparently it's not. Okay. But anyway, not understanding something means you have an opportunity to ask questions. Yeah, and you have an opportunity to evade every single one of them. I can ask 12 questions in 12 videos. I can make it small and concise because you can't absorb any lengthy information. You're not going to respect the source enough to give a damn about paying any attention to anything said in the actual videos or any of the questions actually asked. So, I mean, I asked you 2 simple questions. Am I going to get an answer somewhere in here? Do experiments, explore, and put work in it takes to gain understanding of the subject. So again, I've spent 10 years working on this. I think I can beat you in any live conversation about how photons work. All right, any of this stuff. All right, but so far you're not very engaging. But I've asked you, how much do I have to pay you? How much do I have to pay you to do a live room where we'll debate these subjects? How much do I have to pay you? Because you won't do it for free, obviously. But that's not what you're doing. I mean, no, it's not what you're doing. Okay, you've insisted that these models, whatever this, see, again, you keep using this word models. This isn't about a whole model. It's about whether Newton understood reality or you think you do. Because the two ideas are not compatible. The two notions of the reality are not compatible. And he explicitly said how he sees it. Twice the force, twice the velocity. 3 times the force, 3 times the velocity. Which, by your own admission, you don't understand. Bullshit, I don't. So again, just a lie. You get away with that. Oh yeah, you're a fair cop, playing some kind of fair cop game, and everybody else is a slanderer and a misuser of words, but you can say something like that. This all started with your accusation that I misunderstand, and you don't think that's an insult. Because if I said it to you, okay, you arrogant SOB, you would be insulted. Okay, if one of your colleagues said that to you, you'd find it insulting. You'd say, what do you mean? I've done all this work to acquire this knowledge, and you're going to sit there and say some crap like that because we don't agree? Yeah, we don't agree, and it needs to be argued, and you're the one running from the argument. I've made it as simple as I can, 5-minute videos. How much work is it to find a sentence or two and say, this sentence can't be said? I can prove this sentence wrong. That's your big, fat fucking challenge. And you don't have any evidence, so you can't prove any of it wrong. That's the point. Your religion isn't proven. Yeah. All right, anyway. Admission you don't understand must be wrong. Not only in the absence of evidence that your model is correct. Well, that's exactly the circumstance you are in. And I'm arguing plainly, you've had all the money, all the research, all the laboratories, all the investment, all the Nobel Prize money, all the other crap, and you haven't done anything with it. All of your physics, I mean, frankly, all modern physics is complete crap. Okay, none of it's real. You're never going to find dark matter because it's nonsense. You're never going to find an antiparticle because it's nonsense. Oh, you're never going to find a neutrino because that's nonsense. But contrary to mountains of evidence, see, I mean, that's just such a lie. I mean, it's such a lie. You haven't even redone the Eddington experiment from space with 400. You're fucking supposed to be one of these cosmology people. 400 times more resolution from space, and you don't think they should redo this fundamental experiment, proving this kind of bizarre claim that photons are so special and they're bent twice as much by gravity, when all the evidence points to the fact that no force is bent by gravity. God. Oh, it's just disgusting that you outright deny the mountain of evidence. Where is it? I'm begging you for the link to the frickin' evidence. Please post your links, deniers, defenders of the faith. Please post me your links so I can compile your evidence, but you can't post me to anything except absolute crap. An experiment where some idiot is saying, I'm going to duplicate, the gravity, and objects walking in gravity are moving in gravity by putting things on a treadmill. Because it's exactly the same thing. I mean, Veritasium did that with that stupid air car thing, the wind car, and it's just such a cheat. It's not the same physics at all. All right. I mean, amazing. Okay, mountains of evidence that you outright deny. I mean, it's just amazing crap. And you sit there and outright evade and deny and cowardly run away from the clear accusation that no, it is your physics that's incredibly under evidence. You have no evidence that photons are wavitons. The evidence is pretty clear that photons do specific things involving surfaces, that the surface is the controlling factor, not the opening, not the slit, not the width, not any of that crap. No, the surfaces. All right. I mean, you're just so despicable. This is why physics sucks, is because this is science. Science sucks. Science is such a coward. Okay. These principles of conservation of energy. So again, where's the principle of conservation of energy in any of the crap he has done? The same spring produces any momentum you want. Just change what you put in front of the explosion and you can get any kind of explosion. Big explosion, little. You want a big explosion? Put 2-ton things next to a firecracker and you get a huge explosion. Right? You want a small explosion, take 400 tons of dynamite and put little feathers in front of it. Oh, shit. These principles of conservation of energy, momentum, angular momentum, which is no more nonsense, it's just momentum, Newton's laws, etc., underpin everything. So again, doesn't underpin any of it. It's just a lie. Nothing Newton said has anything to do with this stupid mv squared crap. It's just a lie to slander Newton with it. That's why we know about every natural science. Etc. Underpin everything that we know about every natural science, whatever that even means, this natural science thing. What is that? That's pretty bad jargon. It's almost like vis viva, right? The stupid thing you're defending was called the living force. Are you proving that you're a really good scientist because, you can sit there and try to play games here? Nature doesn't. This isn't about nature, whatever that is. It certainly isn't about anything called natural. It's called about physical. It's physics. All of the engineering and even the basics of mathematics, blah, blah, blah. And I'm not denying all of that. These are very specific things I'm denying. I'm denying neutrinos. I'm denying positrons. I'm denying specific things you assert you have proven exist. Amazing. Find me an engineering textbook. So again, back to show me the Bible. Showing the Bible where it talks about evolution or bacteria or, any of that stuff, that evil, stupid, dumb ideas. God makes things happen. Bacteria doesn't. God is great. Bacteria isn't great. The plague was God. God was mad and God gave things plagues. Plagues weren't caused by, whatever, viruses carried by rats. No, that couldn't happen. Anyway. Or a NASA scientist that claims that the equation 1/2 mv squared is not valid. Well, I'm saying to you plainly, all right, that you show me one who says, yes, when I have to engineer a navigational move in space using thrusters, that I use 1/2 mv squared to figure out how much energy I'm using, how much power I'm going to create, how much motion I'm going to make. Show me that, NASA scientist. I mean, you're so duplicitous. That's the word for this. It's just so duplicitous of you to make these accusations when your science is so under-evidenced. Oh, damn it. Physicists don't keep doing... You haven't done any. So again, we don't have any evidence that this has been done. You can't find it. None of these trolls can find it. I can't find it. You have no evidence that it's ever been examined, ever. The simple question has been asked. What does a lever do? The simple question has been asked, okay? I mean, I've sitting there and challenged you. A scale reads, okay? It can read weight in this direction. You just give something a velocity, 1 mile an hour, and it will read its weight. Where has science talked about that fact? Where has your science done any of those elemental experiments? Nowhere. Because guess what? The answers won't be consistent with the frickin' God theory they wish to believe in. Oh, you're just so this is so dishonest. Physicists don't keep doing. I mean, it's just such a lie. The fundamental accusation I'm making is that you haven't done the Eddington experiment, for example, from space. 5 minutes. 5 minutes of satellite time. 5 minutes. And it hasn't been done. Physicists don't keep doing lever tests for the same reason that astronauts don't start every paper explaining. Astronauts write papers? How interesting. Explaining how we know the Earth is not flat. Oh, so compare everybody else to a flat earther who disagrees with your little special, wooey, magical unicorn theory. All right. And the biologists don't start every paper going over cell theory. Well, I'd almost argue that that's probably not true. I mean, what exactly is cell theory? I didn't know you could have cell theory without talking about the physics of membranes. I mean, cell theory is a little bit complicated, isn't it? I mean, cell theory isn't just some. What are you saying cell theory is? How exactly do you make a cell? What's that theory? It just poofs? I mean, it's obviously kind of really complex physics. Oh, yeah, this is such tripe. Anyway, so we're still stuck, right? I mean, so all these physicists I have encountered, every time I always have to sort of resort to how much do I have to pay you? I want to interrogate your physics, or you interrogate mine. I don't care either way, right? You ask me questions about why I believe, and I'll explain it. Or, now I want to ask you why you believe in stuff we have tiny fragments, barely figments of a piece of evidence. It's not even close to a 10% fingerprint. It's so far away from any kind of 90% fingerprint match. And you believe. Amazing. Let's see. I am encouraged that you're actually trying the experiment. Well, I've tried experiments before. So again, why are you encouraged that amateurs are doing shitty experiments? And that's going to be the definition of physics. I'm not encouraged by that at all. I don't find that a great scientific trend, that the experiments have to be done by amateurs in their basement or on dirty floors because real science won't pay any attention to subjects. And what are the real scientists doing? Well, basically faking crap, as we're finding out all the time with all the fake scientific papers being published. The bullshit. Oh, jeez. I really am. God, I mean, what a pile of shit. I'm going to try to get my lever experiment updated. Why? It's already been done millions of times. It's already been proven all over the place. There's videos all over the internet. You can read papers on lever experiments all over the place. Completely explain exactly what happens. Why do you need to bother? Your physics is well built up. I mean, you haven't just believed in something for no good reason. You've proven it over and over and over again with these lever experiments and with the Newton's cradle, where you proved you can make free momentum all the time. You proved it over and over and over again. Why do you need to do the experiment? It's already been proven for 350 years. You've proven it with dropping round things into clay. You won't explain to me why that's good science. Why don't you put that next to the Ian Gosling link? You could do Brozos dropping round things into clay and show that you have no physics integrity. You have no integrity as a scientist because you will not point out how I am exactly correct, that you will not discern the truth by dropping round things, denting clay, barely denting clay, with round objects, that it's not going to tell you how much energy you used. I mean, it's just so dishonest of him to pretend that the arguments made in those 12 videos, he can just do this to them and pretend they're not good arguments. I mean, I'm directly challenging your integrity. You do understand. I'm directly challenging your integrity and saying, do you have the integrity to point out that the de Chardolay clay experiments were not founded on good theory? That it was not a good way to test for energy by denting clay with round objects. Do you have the integrity to admit that's the truth? And so truth should be in the science books. It should be in the textbooks that barely reference this point in history. You know, where they say it was proven with these clay experiments. Well, clearly the clay experiments are debunkable. And any amateur physicists should be able to understand why they're debunkable, because you could do the same exact experiment with a cube or a cylinder or some other shaped object and you'll get completely different results. Fact you will ignore, you will not respond to, just as you did not respond to the question I asked in the goddamn fucking comment. All right, updated and completed in the next week or two. So again, I'm just I just can't wait. You know, I've seen what you do. So yeah, I'm not expecting great science. All right, and we'll see what the results are. I'm also working on other videos that address. Yeah, I'm working on this shit now too. Okay, and again, I'll just keep pointing out how you've evaded every single one of my arguments. Every single one of them. All right. Other claims that you have made, not because you made them, but simply because there are some good related experiments that demonstrate key scientific principles. Well, let's see what a big pile of fake this will be. I just so dishonest. I hope that you actually start considering the results. So, yeah, fuck you. I mean, it's just such arrogance. You don't have a single video, not a single. We have to go to like Mythbusters and find an accidental video where it's on a completely different subject, where we see, oh yeah, look there, they crashed a car into a brick wall. And guess what? The car that was going twice as fast isn't 4 times as damaged. It's only twice as damaged. I mean, it's just so yeah, why don't you consider the fact that your evidence sucks? Maybe someday you'll grow up and figure out that, oh, you know, if I'm going to have integrity, I can't be talking on both sides of my face. I mean, I can't talk about the results of experiments when, well, frankly, we haven't done any. Oh, amazing. Start considering results of experiments that I and many others have presented. So go ahead, show me the links to them. All right, I've already debunked yours in my opinion. Okay, they're just these little abstract, narrowly done experiments that are just out of the textbook experiment. Okay, the device is essentially made to do this silly experiment. It doesn't happen with a Newton's cradle. It doesn't happen in other circumstances where it should happen. If you take the spring off your cart, it ain't gonna work anymore. I mean, come on. But if your responses continue to be laced with vitriolic, and again, yours are laced with patronizing, arrogance, insults, and bullshit that somehow I am the one who needs to up their game, when it's your game, okay, that's just dogma and religion. You're just an obnoxious, authoritarian preacher telling me I must behave, and I must do, and I must this, and I must that, or else. Well, no, I don't take to being threatened. Ad hominem attacks and slander. Well, you've done your share of that. In addition to your repeated denialism, your lies that your fucking science is evidenced. It's a fucking lie. A disgraceful lie. You've never repeated the Eddington experiment. You've never done an optical experiment proving the existence of any twice as bending by anything called gravity of photons. It's just a big fucking lie to pretend you have this huge volume of evidence that proves this to be a fact that cannot be denied by the reasonable person. Yeah, it can. Let's see, then my evaluation of whether it's worth continuing to engage with you will end with a resounding no. So again, I'll pay you to do it. How much do I have to pay you to endure my vitriol and my horror? All right, we had a 2-hour conversation. It wasn't so fucking horrible, okay? Because unless you initiate the horrible, it ain't gonna happen. You have to throw the first insults. What? These are such liars. These people, they sit there and pretend they give a fuck about the truth, and then they evade the argument whenever they have any opportunity to run away. So I asked simple questions, no fucking answer. So here, I'll read my goddamn comment again. Unfortunate that we can't seem to keep the conversation focused on physics disagreements. Clearly, I don't think your model is at all well evidenced. You can't produce any links to any experiments showing quadratic fuel requirements or quadratic work done. I've made 12 short videos on specific elements of the subject, and you haven't substantially refuted anything said in those videos. That's not even a single frickin' sentence. Unfortunately, I don't really like text conversation, and even when I resort to it, I don't think your responses are very responsive. I'm still not clear on what you believe our claim. Does it take 9 times the fuel to go 3 times faster? Could you answer the question? Because I'll do that experiment. Yeah, I'll find different ways. Let's do it with electric motors. Let's do it with water wheels. Let's do it with anything we can find and see if we can find it taking 9 times the fuel to make something go 3 times faster. Anywhere in the universe, we can find it takes 3 times the fuel to make the flywheel go 3 times faster. It takes 3 times the fuel to make the bicycle wheel go 3 times faster. Find anything that requires this much fuel to go 3 times faster. So go ahead, make your assertion, defend your physics, the claims of your physics, okay? Or else admit that, yeah, well, that sure doesn't sound right, does it? Oh, jeez. If I force a stream of water through a narrower trough, increasing its velocity by 2 and decreasing its volume by 1/2, will it make the water wheel produce more joules of energy? Simple enough question. Can I just increase the speed of the water, and I can decrease the amount of water, and I'm automatically going to create more energy? Because that's what your theory says is the truth. That all I have to do is make the water molecules move faster, and I can move a lot less of them, 1,000 times less. And I can make 1,000 times more energy with 1,000 times less molecules of water. So he didn't respond at all. Again, completely unresponsive to the comment. Just fuck. All right. So we'll go to his other comment. Well, mindless comes first because he responds to mindless. Find me any engineering textbook or NASA scientist that claims that the equation 1/2 mv squared is not valid. So I don't know. He's quoting PhysicistMichael. Do you want to hear the painful reply that DS is likely to give? So he's going to speak for me. Yeah. My reply is where have they provided the alternative truth where a NASA scientist says, oh yeah, I use mv squared all the time. I mean, I wouldn't be able to land on the moon without it. Where has that been said? Okay. He will say that because NASA scientists say they use Newtonian mechanics, well, it's a fact that they say it. Okay. It's a fact that when they are challenged, they point out how they're using very classical, very Newtonian, Galilean type understanding of the mechanics of motion in the universe. That implies they avoid using Ke as a valid measure of energy. I don't say they avoid it. I say they don't use it. That's my claim. And if they did use it, they'd crash on the moon and they'd crash on Mars. They wouldn't land on any of these places if they thought their thrust had 1,000 times more energy than it does. If they thought a bullet was 2,000 joules of heat or 2,000 watts of heat, then they would not be able to appropriately navigate because they would think they created more motion than they really did. Okay, but Newton opposed Leibniz. So let me read that. Newton's mechanics, that implies that avoiding using Ke as a valid measure of energy because Newton opposed Leibniz. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that obviously Newton is a word for a more classical, non-Leibnizian theory of reality. Like I said, it's painful to even hear. So again, they have no evidence for this wacky theory. They can't produce the NASA scientist who will tell me that thrust is based on kinetic energy theory. That's how they, thrust, that is navigation in space. Okay, is not entirely dependent on just mass and velocity. No squared function. And if you use a squared function, your calculations will crash you into objects. Just a fact. So where's your NASA scientist saying, boy, it's a good thing we have mv squared or we would crash? All right. Something, here's something, think, anyway. Like I said, it's painful to even hear something, think this makes sense. Amazing. He has zero evidence, and he's telling me, wow, it's painful when people say, gee, your zero evidence is really unimpressive. The absence of any NASA scientist defending 1/2 mv squared as good thrust analysis doesn't mean anything. Okay. But this is the reply you ought to prepare yourself for. So, look, I asked the other guy, that math and science guy, he was a NASA engineer. I asked him the simple question, he wouldn't answer it. I mean, again, I asked him how much I have to pay him. Won't answer. Yeah. So what's the big challenge? Go ahead, explain to me how kinetic energy is how you calculate thrust in space. I'm well aware that he can make baseless claims. So what's the baseless claim here? I mean, just amazing. Just amazing. And makes this particular one. So it's a baseless claim to say that it is not a fact that NASA uses 1/2 mv squared to navigate in space. You haven't shown any evidence they use it. So show me some evidence that when they're going to, make two space objects couple with each other, that they calculate the thrust based on 1/2 mv squared. Show me one piece of evidence that takes place. That's why I made the condition actually finding a reputable resource that positively dismisses So that's the condition. I have to prove it wrong. They don't have to prove it right. They don't have to prove the affirmative, that NASA does use 1/2 mv squared. I have to prove they don't. See, just duplicity. That's all these people are, is duplicitous. Hypocritical, duplicitous cheaters. What a cheat of an argument. I have to jump over the 10-foot bar. You don't have to jump at all. Amazing. Not just noting that they don't use it in each and every calculation. No, it's not about each and every. We're talking about specific calculations that are decisive. You either land on the moon or you don't land on the moon based on what equation you use. If you use mv squared, you're not gonna land on the moon is the accusation. You're gonna crash. Okay, because this is not always the right tool for the job. So again, more of this evasion of this tool nonsense, that somehow the physical universe changes and we have to change our tools. You know, oh, it's waving, so we have to put the wave sail up. You know, oh, it's particling, oh, we have to put the catcher's mitt on. I mean, too silly. All right, now I can point out the mathematics for calculating transfer orbits. So instead of talking about thrust, I don't know, he's talking about orbits. And frankly, orbits don't have anything to do with 1/2 ke squared, mv squared either. Using minimum energy to go from one orbit to another. And again, this is just talk about how many joules of energy it takes to do something. They could just make up any number they want. So it's really not going to crash you because the numbers are completely irrelevant, because they just make the fuel have whatever value they want. Just like he makes the spring have, the spring can produce 200 joules, it can produce 1,000 joules, it can produce 1,000,000 joules. Any number I want. All right, which use Ke. So again, just evade the subject. We're talking about navigating like a lunar module on the moon, right? There's no atmosphere, so there's no bullshit in the way. And you're just going to basically throw shit out of the lunar module to do it. And the simple truth is, if you're throwing 2-liter bottles, you say you're not going to turn. And if you're throwing bullets, you say you're going to turn a lot. Okay, that's the bullshit here. The same energy produces both objects. The dime going 1,000 miles an hour, the 2-liter bottle going 1 mile an hour. The same energy produces those two things. Fact. In any system where there is a fluid flow, so here we go, like the exhaust gases through parts of the rocket engine. So it's not the exhaust gases, it's the already exploded, frankly, atoms. But anyway, are considering the flows during atmospheric heating during re-entry. So again, they always change the subject. You explicitly say in space, in space, in space, and then they start talking about how much fuel it takes. And then they just make up, again, the fake numbers. They just tell you, well, gasoline has 400 joules per ounce. Oh, this calculation says different. No, it says 1,000,000 joules per ounce. So they just start with a different starting point. So it has nothing to do with reality at all. They just make up a bunch of fake numbers and say, look, our fake numbers add up to our fake numbers. Isn't that amazing? Isn't our science great? We made up a fake number and we created an equation that creates the same fake number. Wow. How miraculous. No, not miraculous. Bullshit. Are the Ke requirements for electric engines, ion engines? So show me that. Show me the Ke requirements for whatever an ion engine is. So show me where that's proven to be quadratic. All right. Where the energy must be supplied by solar panels or some other power source. Yeah, some other source of electricity. Yeah. And there's not going to be any quadratic relationship. The motor will spin twice as fast with twice the energy. Twice the thrust, twice the energy. It's not quadratic. So go ahead. Show me where it's quadratic. Are many other points where NASA scientists use Ke in their equations. Well, using it in some part of the equation doesn't mean anything. We're talking about the real part. The part you just evaded answering the simple question. All right, I mean, I have a stream of water, I narrow it, I make it go faster, I cut the volume in half, and I double the velocity. Have I made 4 times as much energy? Have I created free energy, basically? Just so bad. And all of which can be found in NASA's published resources. So again, this has, there's no, if the link was there, you'd produce it. If you had this evidence, you would show it. So if there's any NASA document that says, yes, if I'm in space and I'm holding a fire extinguisher and I want to calculate how much I'll be able to move, I'm going to use 1/2 mv squared to calculate how much I'm going to move. Where's the NASA paper saying that's the truth? Where? It's despicable to lie about the evidence. There's no fucking evidence. You don't have any NASA evidence of 1/2 mv squared working in space. You don't have any such link. Diaz can make claims. So can you. Unevidenced, unproven perversions of reasoning. Yeah. But in order for anyone to care, so again, more about this who cares crap. Okay? What people should care about is who's after the truth and who's talking the truth about how you get to the truth. And you don't get to the truth by slandering Newton with a theory he didn't believe in. That certainly doesn't look like a truth seeker. Somebody who says Newton believed things he didn't believe, that doesn't look like a truth seeker to me. All right. He needs to provide evidence, and you don't. That's the big mysterious, how the hell you can't, there isn't some, what, you don't have a hypocrisy bone in your head that tells you when you're being a disgusting hypocrite? I mean, amazing. Especially for his particularly outlandish claims. And which one are those? Which ones are particularly outlandish? I've made the 12 5-minute videos. If they're outlandish claims, then why don't you prove they are? Why don't you show they are? Why don't you debunk them? Why don't you mock them, even if you can do it? Go ahead, mock the idea that gravity is a time-dependent force that causes motion in units that happen per second. That you get 9.8 units of velocity per second. Not per foot, not per meter, not per mile, per second. Show how that is particularly outlandish as a claim. Oh, you people are just so fucking dishonest. Alright, just ignore his daily nonsense. There are so many better videos to view on YouTube. This coming from Farley, who is obsessed with my videos. Just obsessed. He has become boring, So it's just more, just try to silence the subject. Just try to make it go away. Okay, so we can all just be Borgish little members of your silly, stupid... God, we're going to really look stupid in the future. The future's going to have a very poor opinion of you fuckers. Very poor. Alright. Because all you did was propagandize, exaggerate, talk your little fairy stories like you're going to solve the problem, and you didn't solve anything, you didn't fix anything, you didn't stop anything. All you did was steal your kids' money. That's all you did. You enslaved the future to your sloppy lifestyle and your sloppy science and your sloppy ambitions and your sloppy civilizations. Because you can't do a goddamn thing logically and fairly and with any kind of integrity. Everything's done by cheaters and thieves and people with all kinds of self-interested motives. You don't do a kind thing for anything ever unless you're going to get payback. It's just, fuck. You people just suck. Putrid. Crap. Back. Alright, so, I've made the public offers. I've publicly offered people thousands of dollars to debunk my arguments. So I've got these now, all these 5-minute videos, and I'm just gonna, I'll just make the offer, okay? Make me an offer. How much would I have to pay you to make a video explaining how what I'm saying in one of those videos is completely wrong, and explain how it's flat earth stupid, that it's moronic, idiotic, it's a complete lie and distortion of the truth, that's completely false and fake and made out of non-logical or reasonable arguments. How much do I have to pay you? I mean, I'll pay you the more visibility your channel has, or the the higher your doctorate, okay, in the subject, the more I'll pay you. So make the offers. What else can I do? I will pay you to mock my physics, to mock my science, to mock my arguments. I'll pay you to do it. So, physicist Mike, how much do I have to pay you to play a 5-minute video and explain how it's completely wrong? God damn it. It's disgusting. it's just horrible living on this planet of shitty people. Anyway, so till the next time and such, I think that's all we got. Well, let me go look on the website just to be sure. All right, so I guess that's it. I'm thinking of, I mean, it's just a fact. I'll post this, all the links to any information provided that's some kind of semi-complete response to any one of these shorter videos that I've made on the kinetic energy subject. So far nothing. So if somebody wishes to say there is some argument made somewhere that refutes what's stated in these videos, I'll post it. But so far I don't see anything. I don't see anything that creates any kind of argument or evidence debunking anything stated in these 12 videos. So, but certainly if somebody wants to provide me links and say this is a challenge, please do. Okay, the email address is provided, and we'll go from there. But so far nothing, and I can't apparently pay people to do it. Apparently. So far, no takers. I'm letting them name the price, what 5 minutes, So let's just say they have to take 10 minutes to debunk the 5 minutes because it's so stupid. It's so stupid. It should be easily debunked. So why don't they get on with it? Anyway, well, whatever. Just shit. Scientists. They're really not on your side. It's just like the liberals. They're not on your side. Okay, it's just there's just nobody to root for. There's no good horse in this race. It's just the human race doesn't produce a winner. They're all just pieces of. It's a rat race. That's all it is. It's a rat race. Big rats. That's all humans are. Conniving, scheming, dead eyes, rats. So, till the next time and such.